Hi everyone. So now it's it's come to the Pydantic sample codes discussion. I'll explain Pydantic code walkthrough and running it in the editor. So as I explained it, I'll keep it very simple. So Pydantic sample codes. We have some sample codes demonstrating Pydantic live code sessions.
Pydantic practical. Want to practice data validation? We shall switch to code editor.
Okay. Let's open an online code editor and I'll just restart the shell and clear the screen. Yeah, we are ready. I'm checking whether Pydantic is installed or not. It is not installed. How do you install? So you need to say pip install Pydantic. So let us see, it is installing. Meantime, yeah, it is installed. So we can also see pip list what is there. So Pydantic is readily available and installed. So now I want to check that basic Pydantic model for a data validation purpose. Okay, so how do you write? First I need to import from Pydantic import base model. Okay, so now I need to write a class with a name user, class user, and it should be derived from base model, and I need to have some two attributes. Name I will define as string, and age I'll define as integer. Okay, so now I want to test this whether it is taking integer or not, string or not, all this. Okay, creating and validating a model instance. How do you, so you need to create an instance for this user class or user model. How do you say obj object is equal to user, like this you can say, right? So object or name or anything you can say, object one or anything you can say. I'm saying simply object, and name is equal to Rajesh, comma age is equal to 20. Now print obj, or so you can also say model object 1 or whatever. So I wrote that I am trying to print orj, so sorry, it's a typo, obj. Now I wrote this code and let me run this code, and I am printing obj. What is it printing? Is it running? Yeah, it ran. Yeah, it is printing Rajesh and age is equal to 20. And if I am giving yes some string, okay, instead of number, if I am giving string, what happens? Let us see. It is throwing an error, so many errors, and saying that what it is saying, let us see a little bit, expand this, and you can see here it is pointing here, this line code is having error. What is error? Input should be a valid integer. So you got it? So like this we can, so we can also say 45, and inside double quotes It is given a number only, but inside double quotes as a string I gave. So what happens? Let us see. It is comfortably converted to number. Okay, whatever we have discussed and data validation is done, and switch back to slide.
Pydantic data validation. Below sample code explains data validation. Below code we discussed in editor. Explanation. Pydantic automatically checks that name is a string and age is an integer. If data does not match the expected types, and error will be raised. Pydantic practical. Want to practice optional fields? We shall switch to code editor. Let's switch to code editor now.
Okay, thank you. So here we want to see optional fields. Okay, so how do you write that? So again, Pydantic base model I wrote. So I will use a different class name, class product. Again, you should derive from base model, and so I need to have 2 or 3 variables, and our objective is optional fields and default values. Okay, so we are trying to see how do we write that optional fields and default values. Name string and price float, description string, and I am also want to make it as an optional in an indirect way by providing a default value. None is equal to none, which means I am actually creating this as an optional value, optional field with a default value. So this particular description is an optional field with a default value. Okay, so now I want to see whether it is working or not. How do you test it? You create an object for the product 1 or prod 1 or something, product class, pass some values here. Name is equal to, so there can be lot of products, a pen or say take laptop. Okay, laptop. Price is equal to, so let us say 45,000. 45,000. I gave the values, which means I am not giving the description here, and print prod1 object. So if I am able to run this code without any error, which means I am able to give this as a default as none. So description is coming as none. Yeah, that's all. Let's switch back to slide.
Pydantic optional fields. Optional fields and default values. Below code we discussed in editor. Explanation. The description field is optional, can be none, and a default value is provided. If a value for description is not passed, Pydantic automatically assigns none. Pydantic practical. Want to practice constraints? We shall switch to code editor. Now let's log in into code editor. Now, yeah.
Okay, so now our focus is on constraints and field validations. Okay,
Yes.
how do we introduce that constraints? So I will take another class. So class order, and I want to make it as derived from base model, and colon quantity. Usually order quantity should be at least one, right? So let's keep that. So like this, instead of writing complete if greater than 1 and all, so you can simply say this, and you can also import this conint and price per item. How much? So this can be float. Okay, first one is the integer, conditional int, and you are putting that conditional as greater than or equal to 1. Okay, now, so which means I need to write some a little bit of comment here. Must be an integer and greater than or equal to 1. That is the rule I have put here. Okay, so now creating a valid model instance or class instance, whichever. Okay, so now this is order, right? For the object 1 is equal to order of what I need to pass quantity. How much quantity? Quantity is equal to 5, and price per item is equal to some 20 or 20.0. I'm putting again print or d1. Yeah, let us test it. Quickly run the code. Yeah, it is printing simply. But if you put here -3, what happens? It is less than 1, right? So obviously, or if I am putting 0 as quantity, what happens? You see here, it is again throwing error. Input should be greater than or equal to 1. That is the error it is throwing. Okay, got it? So we must put that minimum 1 also you can put. If I put 1, it will print simply. Yeah, it is quantity 1 and price per item. Let's switch back to slide.
Python constraints. Explanation. Explanation. You can set constraints on fields like congruent 1 to ensure quantity is always at least 1. Pydantic will raise a validation error if constraints aren't met. Below code we discussed in editor. Field validation with constraints. Pydantic practical. Want to practice validating nested models? We shall switch to code editor. Now we will log into code editor. Now let's log in.
Yeah, so I will take another sample code. Class address again it is derived from base model. City has string and address is will have zip code also, right? Zip code string. Okay, now I want to have a nested model, right? So how do you create a nested model? So I need to derive from address or use the address in another class, something like that. So class user, again user is derived from base model, and the user will have name, and also user will have address, and address is a type of the above type. Okay, so this is the above this class type. Okay, I want to have this. So if I am making like this is nothing but nested model. Okay, nested model, it is trying to take base model and all. Let us see creating a variable. Nested address model. I am creating a user1, which is an object I am creating. So user as a class, and I need to pass name and address inside this. So I need to mention name is equal to Harish. Name is equal to Harish, and address. Okay, you have an option to say address address. Inside that class you can pass what are that address is having. City is equal to Bangalore, comma, what is the zip code? I don't know what is zip code, like I will mention that 50101 something I have put. So I don't know whether it is Bangalore or not. I will put that Hyderabad and zip code, so I will remember something. 530079 I will put. Okay, and we have put that all are as strings. I am constructing a string here. So is it accepting? So I think it is not accepting. Yeah, let us try print user1. If it is not accepting, we should not give that nested class name and all. So it is not taking. So how do we give this kind of scenarios? Address is okay, address is equal to, let me try this if it works. So this is address, right? This address is equal to, I am constructing again internal object and passing it. Let me try here. Yeah, it is taking, see, nice. And you have an option to give in a different way also. How do you give? You can give inside the flower bracket. Okay, and city colon Hyderabad, and zip code, right? The above variable colon, so 50012 something is given. Okay, so now print user1. This way also possible, or nested dictionary also you can give. Yeah, it is working. See, it is comfortably printed, and yeah, that's all. Let's switch back to slide.
Pydantic validating nested models. Parsing and validating nested models. Below code we discussed in editor. Explanation. you can nest Pydantic models as shown with the address model inside user. Pydantic automatically validates both the outer and inner models during instantiation.
Yeah, that's all for this video. Thank you for joining.
Thank you guys. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe for more Python plus FastAPI content and do let me know in the comments if you have any questions on these real time code examples. So thank you. Like, share, subscribe, comment in the channel. Let's talk in the description. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.